everyone, and welcome to the big interview with none other than Mr. Dean Brennan. How are you, Dean?
I'm very good, Rory. It's good to be here, and I know we did this last year, so I'm hoping it's a good omen for this year as well.
Look, 2024-25 season ended in the best possible way. The Bees finished on 102 points, club record total. Just tell us, what was that experience like for you on a personal note?
Well, first and foremost, it was a dream come true. It was my dream to take Barnet back to the EFL. I think I'm the fourth manager to do that, or maybe the third manager, I can't remember. And in the 137-year history of our football club, we've never achieved over 100 points. So when I said to the players the week before the season started, our target's 100 points, I think a few of them were a bit like, I was like, we can get 100 points. We managed to get 102, so a remarkable achievement. And like I say, when you say 137 years, think how long that is. That's a long, long time. So an amazing achievement by all of us at the football club, from the chairman and the Cliantos family, all the way down to the staff, to the players, and most importantly, the supporters. So I think we're all very proud of that.
Was there a particular point last season where you were like, we're going to do this, we are going to win the league?
No, we had, when we drew four, I think we drew 4 on the bounce over Christmas. We lost a little bit of momentum, and before the Forest Green game we had a serious meeting on that Sunday. I think we drew on the Saturday versus somebody, and before we went to Forest Green we went there, and our plan was not to get beat, but we knew we had to catch up ground on our points per game target because we were below it, and that was the first time we were below it all season. And I think that was the time when I sort of refocused the whole group. We had a serious meeting because I'm quite jovial, quite jokey, but that was one where I said, look, we got to sprout wings. I made some brave decisions when we sold Kabamba and brought in Unlove, which was financially beneficial for the football club as well. We made a lot of profit on that deal. And then we made a decision to offload Hayes. We sold him as well to Southend and bring in Owen Evans. And they were brave decisions that paid off, and people forget about them. People obviously went about the character and the rant. And that was a rant that night where, I'm being serious, I thought we were outstanding. One of our best performances of the season. The goal we scored, I think it was the Chapman goal, was an outstanding goal. And then Brown come back from injury, because we'd now centre forward for the first 2 or 3 months of the season. Brown come back from injury and got the winner for us. And that wasn't a stunt or anything like that. That was me being honest. And after that, I never did an interview about that interview. And I was asked to do them from all over the world because I didn't want to be seen as a joke of a manager. I'm not into social media, I'm not into all that. I'm a straight talking guy, no rubbish. You won't get any rubbish out of my mouth, you just hear straightness. Whether people like it or not, it's down to them. And then after that, I think we won 6 on the bounce. So it worked, I suppose. The players' reaction all season was outstanding. And the main thing now for us, it's in the history books. And you're probably going to ask me about next season and so on. But look, we're just so proud of it. And if I'm being honest, 3 days after we won the league against Aldershot, myself, Connor, Jerome Akimo, Craig Holloway, Cork Raymond, all the staff, our focus was on the next points target. We had a nice party for 3 or 4 days, and the next points target is the 25-26 season. So we've set that now. The players don't know that. They'll find that out. We make that pledge before the season starts. That'll happen. So it'll be before we play Newport at home. We're playing on the 29th, Tuesday the 29th. We'll make that pledge on the Sunday before then, because we'll be in on that Sunday.
You've already publicly stated that your intention is to ride the wave of momentum, push up the league, and maybe even go up again. What do you think is the key to achieving that goal? Everybody
being in it together. Massive. Without that, you can't achieve anything in this business without togetherness. You know, and it's not a dictatorship from me. It's everyone's the same level. You've got the same importance of this football club as I have. That's how I've always been in life. And without that togetherness, you can't achieve anything. And we've got players that I've seen this week. We're on day 5 today of pre-season, and they've gone to the line since day 1. And I know when players go to the line, you've got a great opportunity in life. And if you've got good players, which I think we've recruited, and if we bring in good characters, I think it creates a successful team. And there's no doubt I believe in these players. I know they can make the next step. And look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the level. For the last 2 seasons, we've played 92 league games and we've got 188 points. And we're unbeaten at home here for a long time. So I know records and all that are there to be broken, but we're a good side. We've got a lot of players that I feel can play even higher up the pyramid. You know, we didn't expect to keep Danny Collins. We didn't expect to keep Idris Kanu. And they committed to us for the right reasons, for footballing reasons, for that togetherness we've created, for the openness we've got at our football club. Our open environment, it's very important, and I think these boys can make the next step.
What would you say are the main differences then between the National League and League Two? Would you say actually there's not a great deal of difference in quality?
I think basically I think I've said this quite before, it's like playing a top 10 game in the National League every week. You know, would the bottom 12 of EFL 2 win the National League the way we won it last year? You'd have to ask Scunthorpe that. They went down again. You'd have to ask clubs that have done that. Only Grimsby are the only team that bounced back from being relegated out of the EFL in all its time. So that tells you everything you need to know. Plenty of clubs have done it and bounced on again. Obviously, we know Wrexham, we know Stockport, but they got financial might. I'm not saying we're going to do that, but I'm just saying how difficult it is to get out of the National League. And we did it against some monster teams. You know, Oldham, huge football club, Southend, Forest Green, major investment. Seriously wealthy owner and huge investment at that football club, and York, who had an amazing season as well to get 96 points and not get promoted. Shows you how cruel this business is. But we had that the year before and we got 86 points and didn't get promoted. So, you know, the difference in the divisions, look, we'll find out, won't we? We'll find out in the next 46 games, and we'll see how big the difference is.
We absolutely will. And are there any teams in League Two specifically that you've got your eye on, potentially as league winners or sort of dark horses? Just teams that you're watching out for?
League winners, Barnet.
Apart from ourselves, obviously.
Listen, at the end of the day, I think all the other 23 managers will be saying the same thing, or head coaches, whatever they're called now. Whatever's going to happen, I know a load of them are going to get sacked. I can guarantee you that, because that's what happens in this business. Look, MK Dons, obviously, they've got a lot of financial might, a huge amount, and a very experienced manager, so he's been promoted several times out of the league above. Huge investment there, and I think Paul Cook's team last year, I think without injuries, and the injuries they had, I think they used 39 players last year in total. And the teams that got promoted, the 4 teams that got promoted, the most they used was 27, in between 24 and 27. I think they're a good side, a really good side, Chesterfield, and I know Cookie's a top manager and he'll be earmarking promotion. I know how he thinks. So they're 2 of my tips. On the dark horse side, look, listen, you never know. Colchester are going through a tough time, and you've got the Cowley brothers who know what they're doing, and I don't think their takeover's gone through. But sometimes that can get, you know, they're very good at managing us against the world. They're very good at creating that, so they might do well. But look, like last year, Walsall did particularly well and just missed out, and no one expected them to do well, so they did a great job as well. But look, my focus is Barnet. I don't really look at the others. We've got to play everybody twice. That's the way I look at football. We don't have to play them 46 times. We've got to play everybody twice, and we respect every opposition we play against. We've 2-day prep into every game, and we leave no stone unturned.
Yeah, and obviously promotion to the EFL means entering a couple of new competitions that we haven't been in for a long time at least. The Carabao Cup, Virtue Trophy. What importance are you going to be placing on those sorts of competitions for the season? Are you looking forward to taking part in those new competitions as well?
Not really. No. I ain't looking forward. I can't look. If the chairman's going to give me 2 teams, then I'll go for every competition. We don't have the financial money to have 2 teams. That's the reality of it. The board can't do that here. Our focus is 46 games. Them other games will be development games. And where I learned that from is the 2 seasons before we just won the title, we come up short in the run-in because we did really well in both cup competitions, which was the FA Trophy. We got to the quarter-final one year and we got to the semis the year before. And that cost us injuries. We went in the playoff games with loads of injuries, and I'm not prepared to take that risk. So there'll be development games for the young players we've got, for young Pat, and you got Blower, Majeko, Blower, Siao, people like that. They'll play in that Matcher. There'll be games for them. We can't compete at that level. Our focus is 46 games, like it has been last season, and I think that proved right. I know we all want cup runs, and it'd be great to get to the 3rd round and play Man United, and I understand the financial might of that, but if we're being honest, we've got a financial structure at the football club that doesn't change. No matter how much money we bring in, we pay evenly across the board. We pay with a bonus structure, which is very important that everyone can earn from. And we're looking for hungry. We're looking for determination. And if we brought in £2 million into the football club, it wouldn't go into players' wages. Let me tell you that now, because we did bring in money before, and I put it into the pitch. I put it into the facilities. Made that decision with the owner, with Tony and the chairman, and with Natasha as well, our CEO. When we got that money, we didn't put it into players. You know, we put it into the infrastructure of the football club. I think that's more important. I think with that togetherness, there's loads of players out there. There was 1,800 players out of contract this summer. You've just got to find them. You know, there's going to be a lot with low stock. All the players we signed mainly at low stock. We don't go out and we haven't gone out and signed Pearce, have we? The top goal scorer in the National League. I don't think we've ever did that. we brought Nicky Kabamba here. He scored 7 goals, the most he ever scored in his career. We sold him on for a profit. So it's business. I know there's low stock out there. The great thing for us is our location. Our location's amazing for players. We're in North West London, and it's a hotbed of football. I think we're the second biggest borough in London, if not the biggest. So there's a lot of players in this area, so we know where to find them. And the staff, the recruitment team, do an amazing job at that as well.
You were talking about the younger players just before. Could you tell us a little bit more about the Barnet Academy that's being set up?
Yeah, obviously we started Cat 4. Ideally, the chairman wanted to start Cat 3, but we couldn't do that. Dan McKim will head that up as a sort of academy director, or if that's what it's called now. All the names of these jobs keep moving around. So he moves from the ladies team over to that. But Gifton will be the manager, Gifton O. Williams, who's got vast experience. And what's great with Gifton, he's an inner city London lad himself, so he can have a good notoriety, a good sort of chemistry with those kids. I think Craig Holloway is going to help out with the goalie coaching. And obviously Connor did an amazing job last year with the Cannons team to win the league and win the cup. When Connor took over, they were getting whacked every week, 8 and 9-0. It just shows you how lucky we are to have someone like Connor Smith in our ranks, a young coach that's going to go into real serious things. He's only 22, Connor. And he's got a fantastic career ahead of him. And I know in the next few years he's going to be a top manager. You've got Jerome McKeeman now, who jumps onto the staff as a coach now. So what we've always done is try from within is to develop. I've had these lads playing at previous clubs with me, they've played for me, and they've just got the right, their personalities are right for the job, and there's no doubt they'll go on to great things. But from an academy point of view, it's massive. The EFL has allowed us now to fund that. Obviously the chairman has to fund it as well, he's got to find money for that, but it's allowed us to fund that and get it back up and running again. And it's got a great history. There's been so many players that have come out of it, just to say a few. Efron Mason Clark, obviously, his son obviously, it's like my love child, absolutely love him. You've got Jack Taylor, you've got so many players, Ronnie Edwards, that have gone on and so on in the past. So it's always been a hotbed for developing young players, and hopefully we can produce our own.
Yeah, Ronnie Edwards, not Rory Edwards. Definitely two very different people. Let's move on to player signings then, because I know fans will want to know. You're getting business done very fast. How's preparation been different this season compared to last season, given that we now have to adhere to the transfer window?
It's been the same, really, to be honest with you. We got a lot of business done early last year. 90% of our squad is complete now. We've had to be a little bit more patient in the market because the value of our players now, they're high stock. There's a lot of players there. Like I said, I didn't expect to keep Collins or Carnew. We lost Aluo. I understand why he made that decision. There's no disrespect to Eddie. He did a great job for us. I want to thank him for it. 2 years. The kid was stacking shelves in Covent Garden 2 years ago. And now, 2 years later, he's a champion. And he helped us get where we need to get to. And we wish him well at his new club, but not when he plays against us. So, good luck to him. And this business, that's what it's about. It's food chain. It just keeps moving on and on and on. So, I think just from our point of view, getting our business done early is very important. And we call this phase 3, where the market comes back to you and people start talking sense. Because in May and early June, agents and so on and so on. And it's just a business. It's not blaming agents. Like, we all have agents. It's just part of the game. They're a major recruitment tool in the business, and now they start talking sense because a lot of teams are back in pre-season now, and some of these lads are running in the park by themselves and they haven't got clubs, and no doubt they'll be on the PFA list. And Ryan Glover trained with the PFA all last year. The benefits for us this year is Danny Collins didn't have a pre-season last year. Mark Shelton joined us late. Ryan Glover didn't have a pre-season, so all these are having pre-seasons, whereas he was with the PFA because he got a contract with Aldershot, and we managed to lure him in. And there's several players like that'll be in there as well. So we've got our finger on the pulse, and we know when we want to sign someone what we have to do. And please God, we'll probably add 5 or 6 more players really between now and when the season starts, or when the transfer deadline closes.
You said earlier as well, Jerome Kimo obviously has joined your coaching staff. How pleased are you to get Skip on board in the team?
Skip's gold, isn't he? But the thing for me, we're going to miss Skip in the change room. He's a player coach last year. He took the set piece, did an amazing job. When I gave him the set piece job, I think a lot of supporters, I know they were moaning because some of the staff are on social media telling me we weren't scoring enough from set pieces. So we give that to Jerome. And then the difference when we actually, gave that job to him was fantastic. We scored a lot of set pieces, and I don't think we let in one defensive restart when he took over the set pieces. I think it was around November, December time. So full credit to him. But I've always earmarked him to be a coach. And it's always good to have a trio as well, because you can always get, when I open the floor to the staff, which is every day. So if you've got myself, Connor, and you've got Jerome, we're the trio that obviously select the team, and you can always get a vote right then, do you know what I mean? It'll be a 2-1 or a 3-0. So, but Jerome's got a bright future ahead of him, and he's going to be missing the change. I talked about the changing room. Ben Coker's going to be a huge loss in the changing room, real character. Billy Clifford, and so will Jerome. So that's why we brought someone like Hawkins, who I worked with in his early days in, because he's a huge character. And Danny Collins now, and Zach Blunt, Nick Tavares, people like that, they have to step up and fill that void of them characters, because they were serious, funny guys. So, and they were great around the place. Like Billy Clifford last year for us was unbelievable in the camp. Obviously he moved on. He's gone somewhere else, and Cokes has moved on. They did amazing jobs. Cokes was some character as well. It's funny. Makes me laugh just thinking of them. So they're funny lads, but they were great for us. They were real leaders. They were a huge part of our success last year. And we want to wish them well at their new clubs and thank them for everything they did for us.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good time to ask one of the fan questions, which is, what exactly defines character for you?
When the chips are down, you see the real people. You know, when the chips are right down, you see are people going to cry and sulk, or they're going to go up and keep fighting. You know, if someone whacks you across the back of the knees, you've got to go up and get on with it. And there's loads of bad times in this game. There's loads of days where I come in here grumpy, but I've got to come in here and put a smile on my face and pick everybody up. There's a question someone always asks me: who manages the manager? There's a question for you: who manages the manager? Let me tell you who does that. My wife, my kids, my family. That's who does that. And then good friends. All right, and I've got a lot of good friends. So they're the people that manage the manager. And then I have to manage the staff, help the staff. They're going to go through tough times. I've had players go through horrendous times last year, you know, with bereavements and so on. You know, we're humans. People want to berate you on social media all the time. That social media is the biggest rubbish I've ever seen in my life. But that's my opinion on it. And people are human nature. It's, you know, you want people, when you're going through tough times, put your arm around someone and help someone. When people's going through, you want to be there for people. I've got 2 stories last year that people don't know, and I tell every player that walks into this office the same story. I had 2 players call me last year, and on a Thursday night, telling me they'd no childcare on the Friday for that player. And both players were star players for us last year. I rang them, I said, get ready for Saturday, you're starting, do the business. They didn't ring me and lie to me. That tells you how open we are here. Most players, I'm telling you this now, be ringing and lying, I'm sick, I'm ill. I said, don't worry, son. Look after your children, because that's what you got to do, family first. And on Saturday, both of them were man of the match. That's what I want, honestly, and that's what we've got here.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the pressures of management and since, you know, hanging up your boots and becoming a manager, some of the things that fans really should know about management?
And the main pressure is I put on myself. It's not the pressure from upstairs. There's no pressure upstairs for me. I'm lucky to be a football manager. I'm lucky to do what I love. I owe football everything. It owes me nothing. At the end of the day, if I leave Barnet Football Club, someone's going to take that Fleetwood game. That's how it works. So I'm very, very lucky to work in football. I'm blessed, actually. But I think it's a strong point of mine. People skills, openness, honesty. You know, if you're honest with people, no one can knock you, no one can say that to you. Whether they like you or not, that's down to them. Some people might think I'm an absolute gobshite. Sometimes my wife thinks I'm a gobshite. So that's the way it works, you know. My ma used to think I was a gobshite when I was a kid and always give me a clatter around the back of the head, but we still love each other. So you have dark days, you have tough days, you have an argument with your missus, you have an argument with your parents or whoever, you know, my man in my case, or my sister, so on, but you still make up, you still love each other. That happens in football, it's just you. It's the same in the changing room. Every changing room's got like a jovial character, a quiet character, someone that might have issues at home or whatever, so we're just there to support them, whatever way. Now that mightn't be just my support, that could be someone like Cork, could be Connor, he might relate to someone better than what I do. So I always say to my staff, act like you're the manager.
Dean, let's go through the signings that you've made so far this summer and just touch upon them a little bit. Tell us why you signed them and what you think they can bring to the camp. Ryan Galvin.
Ryan, yeah, give us nice balance. We needed someone left-footed after what happened to Miles against Wheelstone last year. So we needed some balance. Athletic boy, we've earmarked him for a while. And to be fair to Chris Millington, he's not at Halifax anymore. But if you look at all the players he's recruited, they're very similar to the players we recruit as well. So with that athleticism, and Ryan gives you that lovely left foot, good balance, good in both boxes, good frame, 6'2". So it ticks a lot of boxes for what we're looking for. Hungry, easy negotiation with him and his agent, wanted to come to the football club. It was done after one meeting. Connor and myself met him here and they were brilliant. Pitched them how we see him playing, what we do to players and how we make them better. And he couldn't wait to sign. So that was a really smooth one. And I I think he's going to do really well for us.
You also signed Adam Senior at the back. Tell us a little bit about Adam.
Yeah, another one that was a smooth one. Yeah, listen, he's been obviously captain, our vice captain at Halifax. Real leader, wants to defend, reads danger really well. And I think Halifax have punched well above their weight in the National League for several years now. So it'll be interesting to see how they do now after Millie leaving. So, but Adam, yeah, good player, really good player. Great age, 23. I think Ryan's 24. Good age, they fit into our model. So we looked at players between the age of 23 and 27, because then they're obviously all the same as similar generation. And if you look at a lot of the players we signed, they've been around that age. And then we did a couple of experienced players as well. So yeah, I think Adam's going to be a real success in the football club.
So one of the fans actually asked about the importance of kind of balancing experience with youth. What's your view on that? How do you get that balance sort of right?
It's just the right character for the experienced players, because as players get older and older, and they'll tell you this, and this ain't no lie, the older they get, the longer they want on the contract. And I believe if you look at Arsene Wenger over the years, he used to never give any player over 30 more than a 1 year contract. Patrick Vieira was one of them, and Petit was one of them. They ended up leaving because you have to keep them hungry, you know. And that's a big mistake I think a lot of clubs do, where they give players that are older long contracts, and players that are older have different, let's say, different responsibilities than players that are younger, that are hungry. So just getting the right character to come and join is very important. And I think, like, if you look at Manny Osadibi, he took a major pay cut to come to us, major, by the way, and that was infectious to me. That was an easy deal to do as well. Big Ollie Hawkins I've worked with before, so he's going to be huge in the changing room. Every time, I'll tell you, the staff, every time we think of him, we smile because he's such a funny character. But on that back post, it'll be say good morning, because he's unbelievable on that back post. And it's a bit like Nicky when he comes to us, and everyone's going, oh, will he get the goals? But we'll put him on the back post, we'll get the ball there, he'll be there waiting for it, and that's what he's good at. There's no one better in the next two divisions than him at the back post, so we'll put him there and he'll do a great job for us.
There are a couple of other defenders that you got in, Ollie Kensdale and Romilly Critchlow. Tell us a bit about how you can see those two fitting into the squad.
Well, obviously, Critch is a vastly experienced player for his age. And when I spoke to Ryan de Havilland about him at Peterborough, he gave him a glowing reference of how much of a leader, because they're a really young squad, Peter, that's their recruitment model. He said he gave him a really glowing reference of what type of leader he is. Gained promotion last year with Bradford, but I thought he showed a lot of bravery. When obviously whatever's happened at Peterborough with him and there, he wasn't playing, or them and him, he wasn't playing. He went out and played for Dagenham. You know, dropping down 2 levels, that impressed me. And when Conor and I were chatting about it, thinking, do you know what? You could have easily just sat at Peterborough, sat in his money, played in the Virtue Cup and whatever it was called last year. And been serious, he could have easily done that, but he went out and played at Dagenham, and we tried to sign him then, funny enough. And we didn't have the money left in the budget to do that at that time, when he went to Dagenham. So we just earmarked him, really. So another player that's come to us for footballing reasons. I think he'd give us good balance, very good in both boxes. He can improve in his defending, I know he can, and if we can get him flying forward like Miles Kenlock does, we'll have a flying left-sided centre-back. Kensdale's Rolls Royce, yeah. What a player. 2 years ago when he was at Southend, you know, literally every club in the land, from probably lower end of the Championship to League One, were after this kid. The kid obviously had some personal issues, which we spoke to him about, and he needed some help. I think the PFA have been amazing with him. I think his agent's been amazing with him. And he went and played, obviously, down at Eastbourne for a bit, but I'd earmarked him for a long time. If people don't know, we tried to get him probably 3 or 4 years ago, several times. So everyone deserves a second chance in life, but the kid's a good kid, refocused, got his personal life sorted, and we've no issues with him whatsoever. He's a class player. He's a high class player, so he gives us strength and depth. If you look at our back line, the strength and depth, and it's scary, really. So we're really happy what we've done there. Now on the goalkeeping department, happy what we've done in midfield. Really happy in wing back areas. People want to know what we want to sign. We'll probably get another forward. Probably bring in another defensive type midfield player. We'll have to do another goalkeeper. That's a definite.
Just moving further into midfield then, we signed Scott High and Manny Osadibe. Can you tell us a little bit about those two as well? Well,
Scott High is a high class player. You know, he's done a lot in his early part of his career. He's been a little bit unlucky with injuries. But I think if you even look at his CV, he's gone out and played. I remember him playing at Concord when he first caught me eye years ago when he was 17 on loan from Huddersfield. Got in their team, did really well. And then had injuries, so he's had a couple of frustrating moments in his career. But if you actually look at him, he's sort of a profile where, you know, he was at a big club, and then he's just not lost his way a little bit in that kind of way, and then we want to revamp him kind of thing and restore him and get him back to what we know he can do. But he's that Iniesta type player. He can play all departments of midfield, top of the box, bottom of the box, playing the diamond. But he's brave, but always wants the ball. Really high. His fitness levels have been immense this week in the first week of training, and actually, surprised us how fit he was, which is very good. And he's hungry. He's moving down he's based in Halifax, and he's moving down. These lads are committing to our football club, so really happy with him. And Manny Osadebe, he's a funny character as well. Obviously, he's one of us, Irish lad. He's we got so many references on him, and like I said, he's definitely come here for footballing reasons. For the package he was on at his previous club, to join us for what he's done is all about footballing reasons. And to be fair to him, when Conor and myself sat down with him, and we pitched to him and showed him how we see him playing. He's got that Patrick Vieira type stride in midfield, and what we see, he literally himself, he did the whole deal himself with tiny support from his agent. Very rarely you see that. He was like, where do I sign? What do I do? And his agent just signed off his deal, basically. He did it himself, so that's a credit to him. It shows you his type of character. He's definitely got leadership skills.
And just before we move on, we also obviously locked in a few contracts. Nick Tavares, Danny Collins and Idris Kanu. Just how important are those three players in particular to your vision?
The three players are huge importance to show how well they did for us last year. Key players for us. But I think we look at Nick Tavares first and foremost. We didn't have to give Nick a new contract, but I felt he deserved it. He had 2 years left. He had a year and an option left, I felt. And I think we're very fair here. And when I had that conversation with our owner, he agreed as well. So it's something that we do here. We're very fair. We didn't try to stitch the kid or anything like that. We gave him an uplift in his money that we didn't have to do. But he deserved it. Absolute Rolls Royce. I think we only lost 2 games when he played last year. His fitness levels are commendable. I know people question that. But to be fair to Liam and Jade, they've done an amazing job with him. Our medical department and our fitness department, they've done he's a great job. So he's done a colossus job for us, and I think this kid's a real top player. So he's got through pre-season so far in the 6 days, great. So he's been great. Idris, obviously we didn't expect to keep Danny and Idris. I think I said that already, but Danny was a tough negotiation, and so was Idris. But both of them got the contracts they were happy with in the end, and we got there. I thought Idris and his agents, Lee Cook, and I know a lot of Barnet fans love Cookie for what he did here when they won the league with Martin Allen and that. So they were easy to deal with. And to be fair to Ids, I think he stayed again for footballing reasons. He had plenty of offers in the north of England and in different parts of the country. And he's a London kid and he's settled with a family now. He's a father. So I think we were the perfect fit. And he loves the football club. And the same for Danny. Danny's been a stalwart. To take a player out of Dover after conceding the most goals ever in the division. And that all come about because when we beat Dover 6-0 here, myself and John Dreyer, who was assistant at the time, we were like, look at his angles, look how he's defending him. He was against Efron. And from that, off the back of that, we signed Danny. That's how we signed Danny. So we just looked at his angles and what a stalwart he's been for us. This is his 4th year at the football club, and he's been a fantastic signing, and he deserves his new contract. We're delighted they've all signed. They're huge players for us.
Just before we move on to the final fan questions, could you give us an update on the injury situation, particularly Joe Kizzy and Miles Kenlock?
Joe Kizzy goes in for a back operation next week. So he'll be out. I think the return to play on that's 12 weeks after he has the operation. So Kiz is out, obviously good character around the place, experienced lad. So we wish him well with that back operation, and please God that all goes well, that procedure. Leon Love has got a fractured foot. So he'll be out for probably 2 to 3 more weeks, and we're hoping getting back on the grass. So he's got a boot on at the minute, so the sooner he's back the better. So he did a great job for us when he come in from January time, so it was a good signing from us, and he's a big player for us as well.
And Miles Kenlock?
Miles, obviously, Miles is a long-term injury. If we get Miles back any time before Christmas, we'd be extremely happy. Knowing Miles though, knowing him, he feels like he's Superman. He probably want to get back for September knowing him. But look, the medical team are doing a great job at Miles. His attitude, the work while he's been out injured, is a real testament to him, because it's a serious test being out with an injury like that. When all the lads, are celebrating last year, and I know he was in them and he's pushing the lads forward. And I always say to them, our key players, like, be the manager. Like Danny Collins does a lot of the huddles, so does Miles. They help out. I wanted the senior players to act like the manager. So, and he's been that, and we love Miles, and the sooner he's back the better.
Right, let's move on to some fan questions. The lovely B Army have sent in their questions and we've tailored them for you. Firstly, We Are B says, how did you celebrate after the Aldershot match?
Had a few drinks in the boardroom, and then I went home, watched the boxing. Eubank Ben. That's what I did. I was a little bit grumpy. No, it wasn't. This is a joke. I went home with my family, my wife, my mother was over. Tommy Nichols was over as well, her partner, my kids, and just watched the boxing. A couple of glasses of wine.
Were you aware of what was going on in the Railway Tavern at the same time?
No, I wasn't aware of anything like that. No, listen, that's for the supporters and players and the staff. That's their bit. And then on the Sunday, we had a barbecue at my house. So top chef, me, and I was DJ. You know, they call me DJ Dynamite Dino.
I did know that, yes.
Yeah, so I was DJ as well. Had me reggae on, so we had a happy day. And all the staff come around, and Connor and Scott stayed at my house for a few extra days. So we had a few days of partying. We gave the players the week off. What's the point? Let them keep partying. And then we went to Foyle, and we had a good weekend up there as well, actually. So that was a collective together. And we had a good day there. And we managed to win a football match. Quite intoxicated, which is amazing. Which I was worried about, by the way. I got to be honest with you. I was so worried about that game because I wanted to get 100 points so bad. Yeah. But the players reassured me they'd be okay. And they were. So, listen, they come to the ward. They did the business and we were on 99 at that stage. And then, we made it 102 points.
I think it goes a long way to explaining why we won the league. Anthony asks, did the performances against us by Halifax start the interest in the players that we signed? Or is it just sort of more of a matching style?
It's a matching style and the manager and the way he thinks. I think he's a top manager. You know, I see managers getting jobs and stuff like that. And I think, we look past this, lad. No budget. Playoffs, won the trophy last 2 years. And I suppose from his point of view, he feels he can't take that club. I see that statement that went out from Halifax, he can't take that club any further. I think football clubs are missing a trick. You know, if I was a chairman, I'd be employing this chap. He knows what he's doing. And they play a good brand of football, very similar to us, aggressive, well organised defensively, not as attack-minded as us, but their profile is athletic, dynamic. And it's just the timing of it, to be fair. We tried to get a couple of players out of there over the last few years, which we missed out on. And this year we got budget, so we were able to attract them players. That helped. The finances have definitely helped because our budget's obviously has gone up from the National League. So, they're just a good fit, really, for what we do. It's not just we're raiding Halifax. We do look at other sides as well. You know, we look at loads of players. We're non-stop on recruitment and... but the timing, I think, Senior will be compensation because he's 23. Galvin, hungry, dynamic. He's 24, so he won't be. So he was out of his contract. And Scott Hoy is from Huddersfield. We tried to sign Scott Hoy before he went to Halifax, but he's a Halifax lad. So I think Scott was probably thinking that he'd probably get further up the food chain within what he wanted. But eventually, obviously, we'd had open conversations with him and his agent. And by the way, his agent's been amazing, Chris Morgan. He's been so good. Winning the deal, obviously. I think they could have gone other places, but all in all, they've decided to come here for football reasons, so we're delighted with that. And that's the only reason for that, it's just timing.
Bruce wants to know, are you superstitious and do you have any pre-match rituals?
Yeah, if you notice, when we win, I wear the same clothes. I put them all on the same time. My wife has to wash them all. She even irons me jocks. Yeah, she does, yeah. Same jocks, same everything. We do wash them, by the way. Same socks. So yeah, look, I do, yeah. And then if we lose, then I'll change my clothes or I'll change my watch or I just have, it's just mad. It's just football things. The same as a player, like I put my shin pads on the same way, the same shin pads from the age of 14 all the way through. And, you know, you just do mad things, the things that go through your head. And I think everyone is. I know the chairman is. He's definitely superstitious. And I know Connor is. I don't think Jerome is. But I know Connor definitely is. He comes up on mad stuff.
B-Man asks, how happy have you been with the uptick in support, particularly in the last 5 or 6 games of last season?
I think a huge thing was the football for the fiver and obviously the way we play. So we're very happy with it first and foremost. And I know Cork ran that football for the fiver and that gave us a real boost. And off the back of that, I think our last 5 games of the season, we had more attendance than we did for the previous 17 or 18 or whatever it was, if the maths are right. That tells you everything you know. At the end of the day, our facilities here are incredible. We play a brilliant brand of football. If you want to see front foot football, and you want to see attack-minded football, we play it. And we'll never change that for anybody. They're my beliefs, they're my principles, they're my philosophies. And I'll fall on that sword. But I believe in them, and I think, you know, when the opposition have the ball, we tackle them. You know, that's my first philosophy. People don't know that, but, you know, my first philosophy is to tackle the opposition. The next bits are the second and third bits, which is dominate you with the ball, overload you with the ball. But when the opposition have it, we make the most tackles in the division by a mile in the opposition's half. We did last year, and we'll try to do the same next year. So that won't change. But yeah, the upkeep and that, I think Cork had a big thing to do with that. I think he did a great job with it. And the staff did as well. The media team did an amazing job. I know they had tasks to do that. And I thought that brought her along. Then all of a sudden, you know, we got people through the gate. They're like, here's little old Barnet, you know, in Edgware, which is the second biggest borough in, I'm sure it's the second biggest borough in the UK. It's here. Everything's here. We just got to bring a friend, haven't we? Everyone bring a friend. Bring an auntie, bring an uncle. You know, bring a nanny, bring a granddad. Just bring your ma, bring your dad, bring your pal. Just come down here. It's great down here. We've got a great football club. And I know there's been an uptake in season tickets, but why can't we get 2,000? Close to 1,000. We've got to get 2,000. Like, come down. It's a good club. It's a friendly environment. It's not the Premier League here. Open environment. That's how it has to be. And they can be part of that togetherness. Like I say, anybody that buys a season ticket or purchases anything to do with Barnet Football Club in the sense of that togetherness, they're just as important as I am, or you are, or the assistant manager is, whoever it is. And I think that's vital.
Sean asks if you could choose any Irish footballer, past or present, to play for Barnet in their prime, who would it be and why?
I think everyone knows who it would be. It'd be Roy Keane, wouldn't it? What a player he was. You know, but when I was a kid, I loved Ronnie Whelan. What a player Ronnie Whelan was. You might remember him. He scored that scissor kick against England in '88. Yeah, he wasn't bad, was he? You know, and I'd say Ronnie Whelan for me. And I managed to meet Ronnie Whelan when I was a kid. We played a tournament in Singapore for Sheffield Wednesday when we were 17. And Ronnie Whelan was out there as part of the vets group. And I met him out there. He used to be South End manager. But people forget people like Ronnie Whelan and that, what a player he was. So I'd go for Ronnie. Even though everyone would probably think I'd say Roy Keane, and Roy was a dominant player, but Ronnie Whelan's career wasn't bad either. I think he won a lot as well. I think people forget, before the Premier League, there was a top division. You know, the players I grew up watching were people like Peter Beardsley, Ronnie Whelan, John Aldridge. You know, David O'Leary was a great player, wasn't he? He's a stalwart at Arsenal. People forget about people like him. You know, they just see this new generation. But I learned from the old generation. I worked with people like Chris Waddle and that when I was at Sheffield Wednesday. We were their team coach. What a guy he was. So yeah, there's a few. Dropping a few. And Ricky Hill, best coach I've ever worked with in my life. There's another one for you.
And on that note, thanks very much for taking the time for the big interview.
God bless you. In it together. Without togetherness, you don't have anything in life, but we have it.